This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Hello and welcome to a new season and another educational episode of A Different Kind of Woman. A different kind of woman is discerning. She knows how to show and have good judgment. Now, state school or private, academy or grammar, single sex or co-ed. Do you have to move to the right catchment area for the best school? We all want the best for our children, but how can we make sure they get the best education? And how much does the school they attend affect their future? On today's show, The Best Education, we will discuss this and much more. With me to discuss the topic, I have the lovely Selena Boyd. She's a mother of two and creative director of Fresh Health Mom and Baby magazine. So welcome to the show, Selena.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. So what do you think about education? How was your own experience?
Well, actually, I had a really good experience with my education. It started at home. My dad really invested in my education and my mum as well. And it was brilliant.
Were you homeschooled?
I wasn't homeschooled,
Okay.
but my mum was a nursery teacher. So from a very young age, she literally just took me to museums with the nursery that she used to run. And my dad as well, he literally just loved everything to do with space. We'd go to the Science Museum, but my education was really good and started from home. So.
That's excellent. For me, I grew up in the Caribbean and I had the advantage of going to a public school and private school.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It was an educational and learning curve for me having both experiences, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because I had the opportunity to mix with both sexes as well as going to a convent, which was very disciplined, very strict.
I can imagine.
Yes. But we're going to talk about this and much more. We're going to go further into this topic because the best education. How do you supply the best education for your children? And as a mother of two, I'm sure you have loads to tell us. Before we go further into the topic, let's find out what the people on the street of London think with Priscilla.
The most important decision you will take as a parent, apart from deciding to have a child in first place, is to decide which school to enroll them in. Statistically, private school students outperformed state pupils on every subject at GCSE on average. Yet, at A-levels, the tables turn, and the top state school outperformed the privates. To get into a good state school, you need to live in the right catchment area. The Sutton Trust found that despite the recent improvements, children from richer neighborhoods are 9 times more likely to get into good universities. Many believe that the difference in education is the reason for inequalities, supported by the fact that on average, a student from a private school earns more than a student from the state school. According to a survey by the Independent Schools Council, A-stars were awarded to 22.3% of girls in single-sex schools, compared to 18.3% in co-ed schools. Overall, the single-sex school students have higher grades. However, there is a theory that they can be emotionally affected by the fact that they don't learn to interact with the opposite sex. All children in the UK, aged 5 to 16, are entitled to a free place in a school. Most families take this place. However, 6.5 choose to pay for a private school, or confusingly, public school. Academies are independently managed schools, part funded by the state and part funded by businesses or different religious groups. Grammar schools are also state-funded. However, they use exams to choose their students. And city technology colleges are independently managed, urban-based vocational training schools. To find out more about schools, you can read the Ofsted reports, the league tables, talk to other parents about it, visit the schools themselves, or find out more in this website. In addition to financial circumstances, choosing a school for your children can also be influenced by the school that you went to. But there's no clear answer for that, as all children are different. Let's find out what the public think. How advantaged do you feel by your own education?
I feel as if the free education that we've had from an early age, it just obviously opens up many doors for us, even though we end up having to pay for university education. It's available to everyone.
Just because I've done very well and it's excelling me in life.
I think I feel very advantaged with my own education. I was like semi-focused at school, so I think I've been quite privileged.
I think finishing high school definitely helps. A lot of people I think who drop out of school don't get too much of that. I did go on and do tertiary education as well, studied at university, but I think education definitely helps. So.
What do you think makes children to do well in school?
I'll be honest, I generally found that the subjects that I enjoyed the most were the teachers that I enjoyed the most. If you've got a teacher that tries to make it as fun as possible and tries to make sure that the kids enjoy it, the kids are having, I just find different ways of learning things as opposed to read your book, learn it parrot fashion. I find different ways, a different approach definitely made me enjoy the subjects more and made me want to excel in those subjects more.
I think motivation and inspiring teachers, I think, is the most inspiring thing for children, for me anyway.
Letting them be what they want to be, being interested in what they want to do, whether it's artistic or scientific, just letting them be their own person.
Yeah, encouragement and fruit and vegetables.
That's it from the streets of London. It's back to you in studio.
Thank you, Priscilla. Those street interviews were really helpful as they were talking about, having an education really opens doors for you, and having, a teacher who is makes learning fun is such a benefit, I think. Even for me going to school, having teachers that make, mathematics, science, interesting and fun, you want to learn, makes you more interested. But what I like the guy at the end in the video said, and eat your vegetables. Because we know, our diet is very important as well. And especially for children, what you eat plays a big part as well. And also getting sufficient sleep. Because with technology and everything, you find very often the children tend to stay up late at night on their devices, their iPad or phones or what have you, So I think eating, resting, and encouraging them is very important. So what do you think makes children do well at school, from your point of view, as a mom with 2 children?
I think as well the teachers play a big part.
Yeah.
But I think most importantly it's the support from your parents, and just if you go to a church as well, the support you get there. Personally, I had some great teachers. My best education was secondary school, and I just had a teacher that really believed in me and said to me, look, your work is really good. I think you should become a graphic designer. And that's what I did. I actually followed that path. But yeah, my secondary school education was the best because I had great teachers.
That support.
But parents as well play a big part. Especially my father did as well.
Yes. And as a mom with 2 children, how was that for you in guiding them and helping them? What are their ages?
So Faith is 3 years old, going on 30. And Solomon is 16 weeks, so he's just a newbie.
Oh, okay.
But Faith, about 3 weeks ago, I was approached by a friend of mine who said that I should try and get her into a private school because she's just really advanced. And sometimes it's really hard to keep up with her, trying to teach her, because she'll just, whatever I put in front of her, she'll do just like that at 3 years old. So
it's a lot of planning as well, a lot of preparation.
There's a lot of planning that goes into, even she's at home with me now, it's 6 weeks, holiday, what do I do with her? And lots of things that I am putting in front of her, she just says, Mum, next, what should I do now? And she's thriving in her education right now.
So do some children have advantages, you think? that are not available to other children with differing backgrounds?
I think if you come from a background where you're not going to be able to afford the best education, I think you can still do well. It just depends who's backing you. And as I said, whoever your guardian is or parent, they play a key role in that.
Yeah.
You know, my dad pushed me in terms of, he told me I could do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
There's some parents that...
So have you started thinking, because I know some parents, they start thinking from early, before the child is born or even in the infant stage, they start planning already for university. Or have you made like a list of what school you want them to go to or anything like that?
I haven't done that yet. And the reason being is because for me, Faith is only 3. And for me to start planning her future, I'm still getting to know my daughter.
Yes.
And, you know, I think at an age where maybe she starts primary school, I'll be able to see what interest she has when she's actually at school and sort of try and not push her, but steer her in the right direction.
Encourage her.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break, Selena, and we'll ask our viewers, please stay with us and take a look at what's coming up next. After the break, we will be joined by mummy blogger, resilient mum, Roxanne Sasha Jennings.
They won't necessarily say to her, do this, do that, but they will let her have free flow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This program is brought to you by UCKG. This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Welcome back to today's show, The Best Education. And with me in the studio, we have been discussing our own education. So joining us, we have in studio mother, author, blogger, the lovely entrepreneur, Roxanne Sasha Jennings. Welcome to DKW. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Now, I see you are an author, you're a blogger, you're an entrepreneur. Wow, you're doing a lot. And you have a child or children?
A child.
You have one child. Okay. So you both have young children, both you and Selena. Have you already thought about the education, or have you picked a nursery for your children?
Ideally,
or your child, rather?
Ideally, I would like my daughter to go to a Montessori setting because she is quite strong-willed, and I believe they'll be able to work with her, and they won't necessarily say to her, do this, do that, but they will let her have free flow, if that makes sense.
Yes. Okay, so how are you finding the whole process of finding the right education place for her?
Because I do have childcare experience, I guess I know the right things to look for.
Within your area, somewhere local?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically I'm looking at the Ofsted reports to make sure that they're, above average.
Yeah. Those Ofsted reports are really interesting. Really, it's good to know, It's good to do your homework, your research. What about you? Have you...
I'd like Faith to go to a private school, but I do like academies. I think they're doing quite well. Yeah. And they kind of stick to... Well, they're trying to get good Ofsted reports, like outstanding results. So for me, I love academies. And if she wasn't to go to a private school, an academy would be great as well.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind that.
I think as you go along, I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but I have friends that have children, and I have friends that have children with autism. And I find it really interesting to see the preparation, the process you have to go through, because autism have different spectrum, so trying to get through to that, trying to get them in a public school, mainstream, is really difficult. It's a lot of work. Having children, it's a lot of work, but one day I might join the club of having children myself. So what type of school do you think is best for a child?
I think it depends on the child.
Yeah.
For me personally, I would like my daughter to go to a private school because I believe that in private schools where the parents are investing in their education, I feel like the teachers do more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're more willing to push your child to reach their full potential. So that's what I want for my daughter.
Did you have a private school?
I didn't.
And how was that experience for you?
My experience in school was quite good. I passed everything except for my maths.
Was it a mixed school or
I went to an all-girls school.
Okay, join the club. Oh, that's nice. How much do you believe your own education will affect the education choice you make for your child?
Personally, I had a good education, as I said. There were some setbacks at times. For me, my teachers didn't push me as hard as they could. I remember one of my teachers, my science teacher, saying to my dad that E's and F's were average for somebody like me. And my dad said, look, you know what, my daughter's going to do very well. And because he believed in me, I actually pushed myself and I got really, really good grades. And I had a year to get my grades up before my actual GCSEs.
Wow.
So with my daughter, I think it would be great to get her into a private school, but if she went to a normal school, I think she'll still thrive because at the end of the day, I'd like to adopt what my dad did to me, and that's just to push her in the right way and make her believe in herself that she can achieve what she wants to
Yeah, I
achieve.
believe in it at home because the teachers can only do so much.
That's right.
But as a parent, you have a role as well to play in your children's education.
That's right.
What about you?
Quite similar to Selena. There were some teachers, especially my maths teacher, who predicted me a really low grade, and I did actually end up not passing my maths. But that was mainly because the people in my class, they just didn't want to learn. So in my maths group, they were always disrupting the class. So the teacher was always stopping. So for that reason...
To deal with the children being
exactly.
disruptive. Okay.
So for that reason, I want my daughter to go to a school where the teachers will believe in her and will push her as much as I will to do her best.
Even for us adults, I mean, education is something that we always ongoing. We always looking to, better ourselves, improve our knowledge, our skills, So have you ever thought about, going back to school or doing any courses or anything?
Possibly to do courses, but not school. I might do my master's when my daughter's slightly older.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so we're going to take a short break, ladies. And don't go away. Take a look at the interesting woman that will be joining us after the break. Next, we'll be hearing from education consultant Rachel Breckner, and Titilola Abuluaje will be joining us in the studio with her life experience.
I always tell parents when they're asking me, which are the best schools in England? And I always say, there's no such thing as the best school, it's just the best school for your child.
My teachers weren't supportive. They were more or less calling me names. So I didn't know who to go to meet for help.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Rachel Breckner, watch this.
Hello, I'm delighted to be joined today by Rachel Breckner. Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
Tell us a bit more of the role of an education consultant.
An education consultant is someone who can give professional advice to families, so parents and students, about all aspects of education. They're usually people who have a background in education, like an ex-head teacher or maybe an ex-admissions manager, so they've got a really good understanding of the education system. They'll usually have an expertise in a specific area, maybe boarding schools or day schools or schools with, that support students with special educational needs. They also might be able to provide advice on things like guardianship for international students who are studying in their country, tutoring, holiday courses, so a whole variety of educational issues.
Rachel, tell us, what should parents look for in schools?
So it's a really interesting question, and I always tell parents when they're asking me, which are the best schools in England, and I always say there's no such thing as the best school, it's just the best school for your child. Every child's so different and will thrive in a different kind of environment. So I would say to parents, look at your child and think about what they really need in their school, what kind of environment they're going to develop in. So one really kind of academically stimulating school who's always kind of encouraging students to work harder and get the best results, that might be great for one student, but not for another student who might need more nurturing, caring environment who will develop them in other ways. So I would encourage parents to find schools that can develop their children's special talents. If a child's good at music or sports, find a school that's really good at developing that area and has really good facilities, for example.
And how much does your financial situation affect the choice that you have?
Well, sadly, it does affect it quite a lot. In the UK, a private education can cost up to about £200,000, and that's just for one child to go through their education. So if a family can't afford those kind of fees, they do have limited options. There's the state sector and there's grammar schools, which are all free. A child is guaranteed a place at a school free of charge, whatever their situation is, especially in their catchment area for the state sector. However, more and more independent schools are offering assistance with fees, and it's estimated now about 25% of students in private schools are receiving some sort of assistance with fees, which is great because it's becoming more accessible to everybody. Assistance with fees can range from 10% all the way through to 100%. And so parents shouldn't be scared of the fees, and if they can't afford them, but they think their child will fit into a specific school, they should really, really go for it, prepare their child to take the exams for that school, and if the school think that child will fit there, but they can't afford the fees, that won't affect it, and they will be able to offer some sort of assistance.
How involved do you think parents should be in children's education?
Well, there's much debate about this, and every parent, I'm sure, got a different opinion. I think there really needs to be a balance. If you've got a parent who's completely detached from their child's education and really not involved and doesn't know what's going on, that can be very damaging and detrimental for the child. Equally, a parent who's too involved and too overbearing and contacting the school at every opportunity to complain about something, that's just as damaging for the child, and that can really hinder their independence. So I think a parent needs to have a balance. They need to be on the sidelines, knowing what's going on, looking out for any issues, such as bullying, or if a child is underachieving, and be ready to step in and discuss with the school anything. But let the child make their own decisions, especially as the child gets older with GCSE options. I think it's really important they have their own independence. But no, parents should always have their ear ready to discuss anything.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
And it's back to you in studio.
Thank you, Rachel and Priscilla. Wow, that was such an informative interview. I've learned so much, and she also shared what we have been saying on the show as well, because we know your children better than anyone, and you know what sort of a type of education you want for your children. But what I like that she said that, as a parent, you see the changes in your children, you see, their attitudes, how they're behaving, and it's very good to deal with things quickly. Joining us in the studio to share her personal story is the lovely Titilola, who had problems with her education but managed to get a degree in human resources and has founded her own hair and beauty business. Welcome, Titilola.
Thank you for having
Welcome
me.
to the show. It's so good to have you, finally. I've heard so much about your journey, but for our viewers, tell us, what attitude did your parents have to your education and how that affected you?
Well, when I was growing up, I just thought my parents were too busy with their lives, had their own issues, their own problems, and I was meant to just get on with life, try and find my way through life. So I had to just take my education by myself and start to do something with it.
Wow.
So,
how old were you then?
From my nursery school, I was about 7. From my primary school, rather 7. So there was a time I had a test, and I got 0. So my teacher just drew the eyes, the ears, the mouth, and my colleagues were laughing at me. And when I came home, I brought the result home to my father, thinking, he was going to do something about it. He said, "Dad, my classmates were laughing at me because I scored 0, and everybody burst out laughing." I was thinking, why are you all laughing at me? Then there was another time in another school, I brought home arithmetic assignment, and my father he said, "Don't you know how to do this?" And I just looked at him and was like, "Why would you do this?" I said, "Never again would I ever bring any more assignment to you." So it's like, no one really asked me how my day was, how was school, was I being bullied? Did I have any assignment, any problems? Nothing like that.
They didn't take an interest.
They didn't even ask me any questions. The most important thing was my name was written right.
Okay.
That was 1. And 2, I had good results. So,
wow.
And at the end of the day, it was like, I just went more inward. I became suicidal, depressed. I didn't know how to relate with people because of it, because I just felt, well, I'm on my own. If I don't pass, I'm in trouble. If I pass, well, they like me. So I tried to look for more attention because of that.
So what are some of the difficulties that you faced in your education?
Well, part of it was, first of all, my teachers. My teachers weren't supportive. They were more or less calling me names. So I didn't know who to go to meet for help. Then when I had, when I was, like I said, with my mathematics, I had problems with arithmetic, I had problems with mathematics. I had to struggle with it, like I had to cheat to pass at a time. Other times, while I was competing with my other colleagues, I just decided, you know what, I'll leave the other subjects because I think I know them, and I'll get on with mathematics just to prove a point and just to make me pass.
So what gave you the encouragement to persevere with your education, to get a degree in human resources?
Well, first of all, in my uni, I did a project called with the title Job Satisfaction. So I tried to find out what that fell under, and I realized it was human resources. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, I can't afford this amount of money. It's a lot of money. And I didn't want to go back to school because of the past discouragement and everything.
So did you leave school with any sort of qualifications?
I did, with a 3rd class, but I didn't think I was going to be able to get anything good with it here.
Okay.
So because when I tried applying for jobs, I was getting no, and I was looking for a receptionist, thinking I wasn't worth more than that.
Oh, wow.
So it was so tough for me, but at the end of the day, I found a shop. I was working in the shop as a cashier. Then it was later on when I began to search courses I could do, human resources. I thought, well, they're too bright for me. You're allowed to read so much. And I didn't want to read. Well, until when I almost got into trouble in that store, it was like I was suspended, I was almost sacked. And there I was being mistreated. So I just felt, look, I need to know what my rights are. I need to know why am I being treated this way? What should I do? And my other colleagues are facing the same thing too.
Yes.
So because of that, that was a wake-up call for me. I was pushed to the wall. So I just said, I might as well just go and read in case I get chucked out of here.
Wow. And it's such a common thing because many times, and I'm sure you ladies would agree, that we feel inferior, we feel we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not intelligent enough, but it all boils down to your willpower, your determination to do something about your situation,
I totally agree as well. I think for me personally, I've always felt as if I needed to, I don't know how to put it, have a bit more when I go to, for instance, job interviews. I've always felt like I couldn't get that job. And it just my life turned around probably about 10 years ago when I thought, look, I'm different. And, you know, at the end of the day, you have to kind of believe that
and
you can achieve.
believe in yourself.
Yeah, you can. You, if you believe, take that self-belief, you can change your life around. And it's about not really worrying about what others think of you, which I think is quite important.
I think very often we think about others' opinion, what they will say, what they will think.
Yeah.
You know, but we have to forget about these things and sort of focus on what you want to achieve, what you want to do.
Yeah.
And plan, do research, find out. You know, it's not too late.
I feel like everybody has their own purpose.
Yes.
So I feel like everyone should just go for what they believe in and believe in themselves.
Yes.
Because sometimes not everybody is going to support you, so you have to be that person who is going to push yourself to reach your full potential.
It's so true, because everyone, they don't see your vision. They don't know your vision. Yeah. You know, so sometimes they wouldn't agree with you. They wouldn't support you. But you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah, you have to be your biggest cheerleader.
That's it. I like that. I really like that. So what are your plans for your future business?
Yes, part of my intention is just to, you know, for me as a person, I'd come through a lot of rejection and I've thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I didn't look beautiful. I wasn't this or that. I always had everything to say yes. To the point where it's like I almost ruined my own life. But at the end of the day, now I've been able to bounce back with so much help. And I would like to share that with other women as well.
Yes.
As many as I come across, as many who can hear me, that if whatever may be like a kind of an impediment for them, like for instance, they feel that they look big, they look small, they're short, they're tall, they're black, they're white, whatever they are.
And you know, women, we have so many insecurities.
So many insecurities. So at the end of the day, it's like you accept yourself for who you are.
Yes.
If you don't love yourself, who will love you? And if other people love you, it won't fill that void. Because you still want them to keep saying it. So it's just for them to accept themselves and to be the best that they can be.
Yes, yes. And what about you, ladies? How's your business? How's your future plans for your business? As you're a blogger, entrepreneur, how are things with your
For the Resilient Mum, I have a lot of different things that I'm planning. I'm not going to reveal them as yet because they're still in the planning stage. But I am actually reaching out to a lot of single mothers worldwide, but I've noticed a lot of mothers who are in relationships are like reaching out to me as well, so that's really encouraging.
Okay, so your website is able to help a lot of women, and you said you had a book as well?
Yeah, I do. So my book is basically about my journey with my daughter being a single mum, and also about my faith and how I overcame a lot of negativity and rejection from my daughter's dad. So it's basically to empower and uplift other single mothers to know that it's not the end for them. There's so much more that they can attain. They have to just believe in themselves.
Yes, it's definitely not the end of the world.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just the beginning of their journey.
It is just the beginning. It's so true. Well, ladies, thank you, Teterola. Thank you for being with us. We're going to take a short break, but don't go away, as we'll be back with more on the best education. Here's a sneak peek of what's coming up after the break. Next, we'll be inspired by a Children in Need fundraiser, and we'll test our learning styles.
The Fashion Collective is a platform to enable entrepreneuring fashion students to get a platform to actually show their artwork, their particular designs to a wider perspective.
This program is brought to you by UCKG. This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Welcome back. On this week's show, The Best Education, we have been discussing children getting an equal chance in life. To make sure they do, Fashion Collective got together to host a fashion show to raise money for BBC's Children in Need and the Rainbow Trust. Let's see how they got on.
Welcome to the first ever Fashion Collective London Fashion Show.
The Fashion Collective is a platform to enable entrepreneuring fashion students to get a platform to actually show their artwork, their particular designs to a wider perspective. We've got well-established designers working very closely with brand new students just coming out of university that have now had an opportunity now to get on a platform to actually show the products right across the globe. We've got about 5 different international stations that are involved with us from the Middle East and the Far East, and we're working very closely with an X Factor show in the Middle East for the designers to give them that opportunity, which otherwise they may not have achieved.
Well, my name is Jakey Miraz, aka Mr. Fabulous. I'm the red carpet host today for Fashion Collective London. I'm here to support and celebrate young emerging fashion talent, and Fashion Collective London is a company that is helping young people shine, and we're investing our time in bringing all this creativity out. And also we're here to support BBC Children in Need.
In the fashion industry, it is extremely hard to actually excel in. Unfortunately, it's one of the most competitive industries that there is, and as a result, many designers, young designers, struggle to actually get their collections out there. Fashion Week is absolutely wonderful, and we hope to actually create another platform in association with Fashion Week to allow youngsters and new designers and people that have got difficulties to go forward with their designs and costumes out into a wider circulation.
Like a shadow in my mind, pushing everything aside, calling bluffs on you every single time, taking off the photographs, turning memories.
That looked like a glamorous event. I really do hope they raise sufficient funds for this worthy cause. You know, reading with your child is vital. Research shows that it's the single most important thing you can do to help your child's education. It's best to read little and often, so try to put aside some time for it every day. Don't you agree, ladies?
Totally agree.
Yes. Knowing how integral a role you play in your child's education, it is possibly important to consider your child's learning style. In fact, we all learn in different ways, and understanding how we learn and how our children learn can be invaluable in supporting their education. So it's that time of the show, ladies, where we get to play a game. Okay. So feel free to join it at home for our viewers. And today we are taking a test to find out what our learning style is.
Oh, brilliant.
Choose the answer that most applies to you. Okay, so 1, you prefer to analyze a picture or graphs or chart? Or do you listen to things without explanation as opposed to reading about them? Or C, do you handle physical objects to try to work it out for yourself?
I'm more C.
I was going to say C.
You handle physical
and try and work it
I
out
do B and
myself.
C.
You're B and C. So B, you listen to things without explanation. Okay. So let's look at the other one. Or 2, you remember things by A, watching a demonstration, or B, saying them out loud to yourself, or C, by being hands-on.
I'm definitely C.
I'm B.
C.
Yeah, you're hands-on.
Yeah.
C.
Yeah. Okay. Or 3, you're most likely to remember somebody's face, name, or hug.
A.
Yeah, I think for me, face. Names, I'm working on it.
A and B, I'd say.
Your face and name.
Yeah,
Now, what
I would
about
say the 3, but I remember more of, I could say the face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always the face.
I could spot a face anywhere. But half of the times I don't remember the name. So I say, oh, hi, beautiful. Hi.
Oh, it's embarrassing when they come to you and say, hi, and you're like, hi. You don't really, you know them, but you can't remember the name.
Yes.
So that's...
Okay, so number 4. You're going to choose food at a restaurant or a cafe. You would, A, look at what others are eating, or look at pictures of each dish. Or do you choose from the descriptions in the menu? Or C, do you choose something that you have had there before?
Wow, I'd look at what others are eating, me.
You look at what others eating before you decide?
I look around the restaurant and see what
Okay.
others eating.
And what about you?
I would look at the pictures and the description as well. I wouldn't really go by what people are eating.
Yeah,
Just
me
in
too.
case.
Yeah, I definitely read that menu. But I also am one that if I go to a good restaurant and the food is good and what I ordered was good, I tend to order the same thing again.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Yeah, I do.
But then it gets boring.
Okay, or 5. You are about to purchase a digital camera or mobile phone. Other than the price, what would most influence your decision? Is it A, reading the details or checking its features online? Or B, the salesperson telling you about the features? Or C, trying it or testing it out?
Trying it, testing it, and reading about the features.
Yeah?
I'm more of A. Though I like someone explaining it to me, but sometimes it's like, when I get home and I find out that, it seems like this person said this, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, you got to do your own research. Yes. Okay, viewers, now we have the results. Now, if your answers was mainly A, if it was mostly A, then you're a visual learner. Mostly B, then you're an auditory learner. Or mostly C, you're a kinesthetic learner. What do you think about that? Which category do you fall into?
It's more A.
I think I'm a mix of A and C.
Yeah. I know for myself, I'm a visual learner.
Me too.
Yes.
I think that's because, as well with me, I'm a graphic designer by trade, so everything's visual for
really
me.
creative. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I have to go by that, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's really good. Although plenty has been written about learning styles, there haven't been yet any studies that prove conclusively that catering to your child's learning style will improve their education. But it's definitely food for thought. Wouldn't you agree, ladies?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yes. So what do you think prevent parents from giving their children the best education?
I would say time. Because, you know, when I look back, I'd love to dedicate more time to my daughter. And sometimes as mums, you've got to go out and work and you come back and they're sleeping. But now I stay at home mostly. I can be that educator for my daughter and just make sure that she's on the right track. So time is a big thing. If we had more time, it would be brilliant. Don't know if you ladies agree with me.
Yeah, I agree. Time is a very important factor. So with me, I've taken 2 years out to just designate that time to raising my daughter.
Oh, wow.
And we do so much fun things together. Whereas if I was working, I would come back home and be tired. So I couldn't give her the best of
Your
me.
best, yeah.
Yeah, and I believe obviously education starts at home.
That's right.
So
Yes.
I want to give her the best of me as much as I can.
Yes, do your part as well.
Yeah.
From at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because education is not just book, as we would say, book sense. It's not just what you read in the book. It's just everything. Wouldn't you agree?
Well,
do you have children,
no.
Titilola? Not yet.
Not yet. I would say that it also depends on how the parents are also brought up. If, for instance, they didn't have all the, their parents' attention, their parents they weren't there for them.
Yeah.
So when they've got their own children as well, they believe their parents gave them their best, and they do the same to their children as well.
It's so true.
It's funny that because my dad's one of 9, so he's had, there's a large family there.
Yeah.
But so at the end of the day, parents, they were quite busy, but my dad has adopted the idea of just focusing on our education in the home, and it may be because he didn't really have that time for himself as well with his parents.
He wants the best. He wants better.
So I hear what you're saying.
I think for me growing up, because we were poor, we didn't have much, but we had a lot of fun, and I learned so much. I learned how to use my hands. I learned,
Same thing.
Yeah. Even though we didn't have much, but I enjoy playing outdoors.
Yeah.
It's
different now, isn't it?
It's totally a different generation, a different time. But at the same time, we have to make time for our children to give them the best.
With my mum, she worked full time, but she always made sure she had time to come home and bond with us. And one thing I love about her is that she tapped into all of our strengths.
Yes.
Like with me, I was reading from a really young age, so she would give me lots of books. She would take me to the library, and with my brothers, they're also very creative. So she was helping them to do their drawings, to do their paintings.
It's just encouraging your children.
Definitely.
And I guess, if you invest the time, you would see the different needs that the different skills that they have. Every child is different. Yeah, because when I look at my sisters, each one of us, we're different. We all have something different to offer. And it's good when a parent can, sort of acknowledge that from early and support that.
I think it's important when parents believe in their children, because your children look up to you, and when you can say to them, you're doing a great job, you don't know how much confidence you're instilling into that child. So it's so important to be positive and to encourage them.
Definitely. But we're dealing with different generations as well. So some parents, they love you, but they don't know how to show that love. For them, working hard and putting money on the table, for them, that's love.
Yeah.
They're giving you their best. So everyone is truly different. I know we all come from different cultures, Caribbean, from Africa. We all have, as we were talking back earlier, we all have different upbringings, and the way how our parents treated us, how the morals and values that they instill in us, it basically affects us even today in our adulthood. So making time for our children and giving them the best, our best mightn't be, what you consider as the best, or everyone is different, but the best for our children. So today's topic really had me thinking, even though I don't have children yet, but it's really remarkable that we invest in our children. And so for our viewers looking at the show, who have children or who are pregnant or who are about to have a child, it's good to think and plan ahead. Everything, I believe, is good to plan, save, understand what you're about to do, have a vision of what you want for your child's future. Children can achieve well at school when their family, even friends, take an interest in their school, in the schoolwork. Even if your friend asks you, like, how you doing? You need any help? What you studying? It's like an extra boost, an extra little motivation, So getting involved in your child's education, even in the simplest way, shows that you care about their school life.
I agree. But also as well, I think it's good to just look at their friends as well, because that, you know, friendships really can affect your education. 1.5 million children are bullied a year, and that does affect how children learn. So I'm always keen to see how my daughter is at making friends, and you know how she is you know, I like to watch her when she's playing as well. So it's very, very important.
But when you look at the children, they are not working. So how did they get the mobile phone and the iPhone and all the tablets and everything?
It's from the parents. I guess some parents do give their children gadgets in a way to kind of compensate for them not being able to be there physically. But sometimes their children are going onto all sorts of sites and they don't really know.
Yeah, they're not aware. I know some parents, they have no clue of the functions, that things you can do with a mobile phone. They are so, you know, so out of touch with technology. So as a parent, it's important to be aware, to know what's going on as well. Know who are they speaking to. There's so much bullying, there's so much things happening when they are online. So we need to be aware of this as parents and even family members, because we leave everything up to the parents. But also as a family member or a friend, you can also speak to that parent as well. They may not know, just to help, because sometimes people don't know. Some people just assume, you know, that, oh, they should know this, but sometimes you don't know. With all the updates and technology, you're not aware of it. So it's good to always be learning, always, you know, not being afraid to ask for help as well.
Yeah, but I know of something I read in the news some days ago about a child who was just left to grow up all by herself because she liked to dress up, she liked to have makeup. And someone was saying, it seems like you're sexualizing this child. But she said, they don't understand. So the girl is 7 now. She has lipsticks. She's got, she wears dresses like an adult. So it's like real exposure.
And it's the parent that is buying all the makeup and the clothing.
And she said she's liked it since she's been a child. I was wondering, well, but every child will always like to be an adult. So it's left for you to bring up that child in such a way that that child would understand. You will grow into it. It's gradual, but don't just all of a sudden. So
at the same time, we are not here to judge any parent, but you have to take stock. You have to pay attention to all these things, because it can lead to down a dangerous road, you know.
My daughter actually watches me doing my makeup and hair in the morning, so she tries to take my makeup to do her own face, but I just, you know, tell her, even though she's 2, that she's beautiful and she doesn't need to wear anything.
Yes. I think those positive words makes a huge difference. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today. Today has been fantastic, and I would love for our viewers to get in touch to let us know what are their thoughts towards today's show. They can message us on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, or by emailing us on comments at dkw.me. Join us next week for another exciting episode of DKW. Until then, it's goodbye.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.